71 was a greater stupidity. I mean, we were fighting in purely military terms. It was a ridiculous operation. We were fighting a lines of communication with as long as from Karachi to the south of France or Italy or Morocco or somewhere. I mean, such a long territory, and all going along the coast of India. And we couldn't hope to fight that successfully. It was so stupid. And we launched an attack India launched an attack. We were inviting them. Bengalis were crying for help, asking them for assistance, and we got ourselves involved in an operation. It was again our stupidity, our folly that led us into that catastrophe. There was no need for that.
I think that is a travesty of the facts. That is not correct. Pakistan in 1971 found India intervening in a crisis which led to the breakup of Pakistan. And in fact, I would say that 1971 played a huge role in changing Pakistan's security paradigm, which up until then was one that relied on borrowing power from external alignments to protect itself. Therein lay the pursuit of Pakistan's strategic capability. Of course, it was also triggered by India's pursuit of the nuclear capability.
A history of proxy wars had delineated the relationship between the two countries. The possibility of cross-border hostilities had convinced Pakistan that massive troop deployment at its eastern borders acts as a psychological counter-offensive. The Kargil episode in 1999 is one such example.
You see, why do we blame the army? This is the issue. Who talked of a 1,000-year war with India?
It is more a part of Pakistan than it can ever be with India, with all her eloquence and with all her extravagance with words.
Kashmir Pakistan ka rahega aur Pakistan Kashmir ka rahega.
Irrespective of our size, of our resources, we shall fight to the end.
Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who ran his entire election campaign in 1970 on two planks. Domestic, all power to the people, roti, kapda aur makan, food, clothing and shelter, and foreign policy, confrontation with India, a hard line on India. That's how he swept the Punjab, as you know then. And when he launched the nuclear program was not launched by Field Marshal Ayub Khan, not by Yahya Khan. It was done by a civilian leader.
The unique element in the Kargil affair was that Pakistan and India had conducted successful nuclear tests the year before. With both countries holding aces in their hands, certainly the nature of conventional warfare must have changed as well.
People fight wars, but they move on. I think Kargil was a mistake in the sense that we repeated the mistake of 65. Normally we don't repeat old mistakes, but the old mistake was that we thought that we would do something in occupied Kashmir and the Indians would not respond, or the Indian response would not be commensurate with what we had perceived. So I think our understanding or our analysis of the Indian situation is wrong. Here I also find a lot of ignorance on both sides about each other's intentions. Despite being neighbors, despite knowing each other or having claimed to live together before 47, I think as two independent states, I think there's a very big gulf in understanding and information about each other.
I am not going to defend Kargil. Kargil was indefensible. But let us remember that Kargil followed on 1984 Operation Meghdoot. The one Indian Major General suddenly decided that he had seen an opportunity and he was going to use it. The Pakistani army had moved out, as they did every year, from positions that they occupied in the summer months. During the winter they moved out. This man decided to move his troops in during the winter. and took over those posts and then decided to stay. In Kargil, exactly the same thing happened. In Kargil, the posts that had been vacated by the Indian Army in the winter were occupied by the Pakistani Army.
The stakes are high following the nuclearization of South Asia, as the international forces of authority vehemently pursue the crusade to confine mutually assured destruction. The complex relationship between a nuclear India and a nuclear Pakistan has to be examined.